What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And I just got a phone call. Well, email first, then phone call after I gave the guy my number. And I spoke to a gentleman that has 17 SMOG locations in the state of California. And he was like, TK, I really didn't like what you were talking about. This is like my business. This feeds my family, blah, 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 blah. But he reached out to me and said, one, California is going forward with that safety inspection program that we talked about before. But they did a phone call today, and they had like other smog shop. It's like a conference call bullshit that they do with the Bureau of Automotive Repair. There's some big changes coming to California. At least they think so. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this. Hey guys, just a quick word from the video sponsors today, Delete Me. Here's something I didn't realize until recently. There are entire people search websites that list your name, phone number, address history, even your relatives, right? Anyone can access it. All it takes is a credit card. That kind of info floating around makes it way easier for scams, phishing, and other sketchy stuff to happen. And I'm not talking about somebody calling and asking you about your extended warranty. That's why I use Delete Me. They remove your personal info from hundreds of those data brokers and people search sites. And it's not a one and done thing. You can see how many sites had my info listed before Delete Me stepped in. You have it up here on the screen. Here's my report. You can see how many sites had the info. If you want to clean up what's out there on you, go to joindeleteme.com/TK Garage and use code TK Garage at checkout for 20% off. You can also use the QR code on screen. Just scan it with your phone. And link also, as always, in the description in the pinned comment. And thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. So, if smog was staying, and if the California Air Resource Board wasn't going to get shut down, why would they be preparing the smog shops to rapidly switch over to a safety inspection program? Oh, major franchises or, people that have multiple locations that do smog, they have these calls that they'll do, like a group that do these calls with a Bureau of Automotive Repair, and they basically answer questions for them about new regulations, new rules, things that are changing. And one of them that they were talking about had something to do with Volvo and Audi. He was trying to explain that to me today, but I don't get what they're coming from with that. Evidently, there's some new thing in terms of how they test for smog, and those cars just won't pass. But they passed previously with whatever they were using previously. I don't get that. We don't do, this isn't a channel where we talk about how to pass smog and let me tell you how to suck the dick of the government. We're not doing that here. All right. Fuck that. But, what we are going to talk about here is the fact that these smog shops now are starting to panic because they don't think the state of California will have everything situated to put together for Bureau of Automotive Repair to come out with this safety inspection bullshit. Because this is what I tell you guys. I told you guys this fucking months and months and months that even if they end smog and smog is completely gone, they would find another way to bend you over and rail you in the ass. And I wasn't lying. You know it. They were going to do something. Mileage tax. Now it's safety inspections. They're going to check your tires, check your brakes. Oh, you failed this time. You're going to have to come back, and it'll be another $150 when you come back. How many times do you think they're going to fail people so they could just generate revenue? Think about that. So, talking with this guy on the phone, after we talked for a little bit, he goes, "You're really not that bad, or you're really not an asshole." And I was like, "Oh, don't get twisted. I'm an asshole." I'm an asshole. But I can also understand where he's coming from. He's just trying to feed his family, right? He got into the business that was open to him with his little shops. He does tires and other stuff. with his shops that he had across California, right? Southern California for the most part. And he's just trying to feed his family, man. He's just trying to build something for his family. So I get that. But he also is like, he's been saying, like, he's like, smog gets worse every year. It gets more and more and more and more expensive. But him and a bunch of these other franchises are freaking out because evidently somebody from the California Air Resource Board has, put out a memo. If you get it, if you have it, send it to me. I want to see it. I haven't seen it. So I can't speak to what's in the memo, just on what this owner of this smog shop said. And by the way, we're going to do a live stream at some point. I asked him, I was like, hey, you want to come on? Let's do a live stream. Let's talk about this from both sides. I'm fine with that. I think it would be good. I think you guys would enjoy it. So we're going to do that. We're setting that up. Now, I get where he's coming from. This is his business. This is what he needs. But I thought it was interesting to see his response and what the other shops were saying. And that the state of California is really leaving these smog shops in the dark. They're not telling them shit. And then they just come out of the blue today and say that depending on what happens in November, depending on who gets elected governor, can determine whether or not smog checks still happen. Because as I've said, and I'll say it again, Bianco was very clear. Hilton has now jumped on that bandwagon. If either one of those guys become governor, smog checks in the California Air Resource Board go bye-bye. When they go bye-bye, these shops don't have the ability and don't have the legal authority to smog check your vehicles. It is literally the end of smog. And here's how I know it's happening. These shops, do you think they'd be freaking out? Oh, we've heard this before. Nothing's going to change. Blah, blah, blah. Right? That's what they'd say, right? Nothing's going to change. We've heard this a million times. It's going to go. Not this time. Because now the shop owners are some of these guys that have multiple smog locations are making decisions on, should I sell the business? Which is kind of also a douchebag move. If you sell the business to somebody else, and then there probably isn't any smog after January, that's kind of a douchebag move. But I get it though. I get cashing in while the value of the business is up, because there's no guarantee it's going to be there. With now multiple Democrat candidates and the two Republicans saying that they would shut it down, saying that they would end it. The only Democrat that's been consistent, or I want to say dick riding Newsom, has been Becerra. Like, he's literally like, I'm going to do exactly what Newsom did. But, and I'm not going to trust Porter as far as you can throw her, or Steyer, or any of the rest of them motherfuckers. For me, it comes down to common sense. And if you want actual change, you have to change who's in there. And I think it's got to be Hilton or Bianco. And but getting back to the smog shop owner, he's freaking out. And it's not just him; it's other guys that have multiple locations that are freaking out too, because it's not just us YouTubers that are saying stuff now, because that's what it was before, right? Just media and YouTubers that are just saying stuff now. Yeah, it's just YouTubers. Now it's not. Now they're getting hit up by the Bureau of Automotive Repair. They've done these conference calls, and they're letting them know that there is a strong possibility that it all could end, and that the state could transition, and may transition anyway, to doing these safety inspections. And then you get fucked twice, because if they don't get rid of smog, then you get smog and a safety inspection. Jesus. Who you vote for this November is going to determine how much money you're going to get to keep in your pocket. Hope you think about that. Anyways, I'm going to try to set something up for this coming week to see if we can get this live stream in with them. I think, and if there's other smog owners that want to do it, feel free to send me an email. Maybe I'll try to get like 5 or 6 of you on, and we'll try to listen to your concerns, where you're coming from, so that people will know it's not just me saying it. Bureau of Automotive Repair has told you guys the same thing. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.